Both Texas basketball programs are peaking at the right time as March Madness approaches. It's finally springtime, which means Texas baseball and softball are getting their seasons underway. And of course, the NFL has a new team at the top of the food chain in the Seattle Seahawks after their dominant win over the Patriots in the Super Bowl. All of this action and more coming up on College Press Box. Good evening and welcome back to College Press Box. I'm Nolan hosting with Dylan Becker tonight. Before we get started, we want to remind you that College Press Box is brought to you by Cat Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan your ride to this weekend's game at catmetro.org. Good evening and welcome back to College Press Box. I'm Nolan hosting with Dylan Becker tonight. Before we get started, we want to remind you that College Press Box is brought to you by Cat Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan your ride to this weekend's game at catmetro.org. On Sunday, the New England Patriots and Seattle Seahawks faced off in the big one, Super Bowl 60. After years of seeing familiar teams like the Chiefs and the Eagles in this game, the prospect of two relatively inexperienced teams facing off in the biggest game of them all was pretty intriguing. So as the clock struck 5:30 Central Time, families and fans across the world gathered around their screens to watch the two conference champions duke it out for the Lombardi Trophy in San Francisco. The weather was beautiful in Levi's Stadium and the stage was set for hopefully another Super Bowl classic. The Seahawks threw the first punch on its opening drive with this beautiful play fake from Sam Darnold, finding his man Cooper Kupp for a 23-yard gain. Kupp bobbled it a couple times but managed to hold on to the ball, helping his team secure an early 3 points. Fast forward to the second quarter, the electric Kenneth Walker burst through the line of scrimmage and is off to the races at the second level for a 30-yard gain, one of his many big plays of the night. Also setting up another Jason Myers field goal. And now let's go to the second half where Walker turns a little slip screen into a big gain, effortlessly running past Patriots defenders, setting up another Seattle field goal. Yes, that was a theme for most of the night. And later in the third, Drake May would drop back to pass, but be met by former Longhorn Byron Murphy, who takes May to the ground. That was his second sack of the night. The Patriots were beginning to run out of time, and this play would not help their cause as Derek Hall forces the fumble and Byron Murphy jumps onto it. What a night for the former Longhorn. This gave Seattle great field position, and finally the Seahawks were able to break the touchdown drought early in the fourth quarter through this A.J. Barner touchdown grab. Sorry, Jason Myers, but I was getting a little bit tired of seeing you on my screen. Hold the phone though, because the MVP runner-up was not going down without a fight, responding right away to the Seattle score with this dime to Mac Hollins, putting 7 on the board. New England was able to get the ball back, but Drake May once again showed his inexperience on the big stage right here, throwing a careless interception, destroying any momentum that New England had. There's only one reason May would ever throw this ball. He was seeing ghosts. As you can see right here, just not a good ball at all from Drake May. And just like they did in its Super Bowl 48 win over Denver, Seattle added insult to injury with this 45-yard pick six from Uchenna Nwosu to effectively bury the Pats in Santa Clara and start the celebrations and parade plans in the great state of Washington. New England would score one more consolation touchdown at the end, but the statement was already made. The Seahawks soared to the top of the mountain to reclaim their spot on top of the NFL. Now that football season is over, all eyes are heading to college basketball, where men's and women's teams are getting ready for their postseason push. And what a fantastic week it was for Texas basketball as the women picked up a huge revenge win over a top 5 ranked LSU team, and the men won both of its contests, getting them over 500 for the first time in SEC play. Our very own Larry Liu, Bradston Swick, and Trinity Jason were out covering the Horns on the hardwood. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
We are here back at the Moody Center as Texas Longhorns take on South Carolina. The Longhorns are entering the matchup after a 79-69 win in the Red River rivalry. Let's see how they did.
The Longhorns started off pretty slow, trying to work their offense. Modest is found, and he drives to the rim for a foul. As for South Carolina, they came in hot with this backdoor dunk exposing the Longhorns' defense. But the Longhorns didn't give up. Dalen Swain finds Simeon Wiltshire for the corner three. South Carolina continues to work their offense, finding Michi Johnson in the paint for this shot over the Longhorns defense. Simeon finds Modest being hammered in the paint. He goes up for the shot and gets an and one, giving the Longhorns momentum. Jordan Pope scans the court, passes to Kendall Weaver, who finds Cam Heidi in the corner. He pump fakes and switches to three, leading the first half 35-31. Entering to the second half, the Longhorns come out looking to accomplish the mission. Dalen Swain jabs and drives to the basket for an and one, setting the tone for the second half. Camden Heidi is found yet again for the corner three. He has been unstoppable behind the three-point line. South Carolina continues to fight back with this finish at the rim. Poe passes to Tremont Mark for this tough jump shot in the paint, riling up the bench. After a long fight and overcoming a 16-7 deficit in the first half, the Longhorns come out with the 84-75 win, led by Dalen Swain with 22 points and 10 rebounds.
The Texas Longhorns will be back here Saturday facing a tougher opponent, Ole Miss. My name is Trinity Jason, reporting for TSTV Sports.
Texas enters today's game against Ole Miss coming off a strong stretch, with Dalen Swain averaging 25 points and nearly 8 rebounds, while the team is averaging 85 points per game, shooting nearly 50% from the floor. If the Longhorns can keep this up and continue to dominate the glass like they did earlier this week, they will without a doubt control the game right here at the Moody Center. From the opening tip, Texas sets the tone offensively, pushing the rim and moving the ball with confidence. Modest Vocatitis makes his impact felt early, finishing through contact and forcing Ole Miss to collapse defensively in the paint. He went a solid 9 for 11 from the field, scoring a game-high 27 points and grabbing 7 rebounds, setting the tone for Texas offensively. Tremont Mark provides steady scoring, finishing with 19 points and 5 rebounds, while Texas shoots nearly 53% from the field as a team in the opening half. Texas takes a 37-25 lead into the break. Ole Miss comes out strong in the second half, going on a 16-4 run. The Rebels narrow the gap, but the Longhorns fight to keep a slim advantage. Jordan Pope adds 13 points, including key free throws to maintain control. In the end, the Longhorns pull away for a 79-68 win. This marks the first time the Longhorns have recorded 3 consecutive league victories this season. Sophomore center Matas Vocatitis carried the effort, keeping Texas on top in the second half.
I mean, he played his best game of the SEC season today. He was the difference in the game. I mean, 9 for 11, 9 for 12 from the line. It was great to see him bounce back.
The Longhorns now look ahead to next week, where they will hit the road as they travel to Columbia, Missouri, looking to ride the wave and keep the postseason hopes alive after today's win. Reporting for TSTV Sports, I'm Bradson Swick.
Great coverage, Larry, Bradson, and Trinity. Now let's send it over to Dylan with a special guest for more.
Thanks, Nolan. I'm here with Penelope Fleming to talk more about Texas women's basketball. Welcome, Penelope, to the show. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Happy to be talking about women's hoops.
Well, there certainly is no better time to be doing so than right now, as Texas women's basketball just came off a huge win against now number 6 ranked LSU on Thursday, a pretty evenly matched competition. So how were the Longhorns able to pull this one out?
You're absolutely right about this being a pretty comparable matchup. Texas is on a 4-game winning streak, all against SEC opponents, and LSU is on track to be the highest scoring team in Division I basketball. So the biggest test in this game is going to be limiting LSU's Flo J. Johnson in the paint, and Texas did just that. LSU was really on a roll from the three-point line, and that's what was able to keep him in this game for so long. But Texas was able to pull away, especially within the last 5 minutes of the game, with big scores and steals from freshman Aaliyah Crump. She was playing incredibly well this game with 16 points in 24 minutes. She's really been making up for lost time after being sidelined with a foot injury. But since returning in late January, she's been contributing heavily, especially from beyond the arc. If you know what kind of production you're going to get from the usuals, Madison Booker, who had 18 points, and Rory Harmon, who set the school record as all-time steals leader in this game. So that's how the Longhorns were able to win this one 77-64 and move on to 22-2 on the season, still undefeated at Moody.
Well, we know one thing is for sure, that Moody magic certainly is real, and that magic has got the Longhorns now sitting at the number 4 ranking in the country, still with 7 games left to improve that ranking and jump into the top 3 before the start of March Madness. What do they need to do to climb into that top 3, Penelope?
Well, things are obviously going really well right now, but other than key players building on their success so that the offense doesn't have to rely so much on Madison Booker, from what I saw during the LSU game, is this team needs to tighten up their defensive rebounding, and then they should go into tournament play feeling really, really good.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Penelope. We're going to pause right here, but don't go anywhere. When we're back, we're going to have our men's basketball analyst, Joaquin Alvarez, joining me right here. Welcome back to College Press Box. I am now joined by Joaquin Alvarez. Welcome to the show, Joaquin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good today, Dylan. I'm so excited to be on the show and excited to talk about this Longhorn basketball team.
Well, it's good to hear, and this Longhorn basketball team has been getting it going recently. They've come out victorious in their last 2 games, one against South Carolina and the other against Ole Miss. What in particular did you notice from both of those Longhorn victories?
Starting off against South Carolina, the team started off slow for the majority of the first half, having to play from behind as South Carolina would start off on a 16-7 run, and it wasn't until the end of the first half where Texas would finally take a small 35-31 lead. Both teams woke up in the second half, scoring more and shooting better from the field than in the first. The second half point split was 49-44 in favor of the Horns, leading to the final score of the game being 84-75. Now, against Ole Miss, the phrase basketball is a game of runs has never been more true, as Texas started off with the lead over the Rebs, growing to as much as 15 points. However, the Longhorns would hit a cold spot in the first 10 minutes of the second half, only scoring 10 points to Ole Miss's 25. The Longhorns would find themselves down 3 after being in control of the game for almost all of the first half. The rest of the second half was filled with back-and-forth action by both teams until the 4-minute mark, where the Longhorns would go on a 14-0 run to secure the victory 79-68. In both of these games, you saw how the Longhorns can respond to being behind early, being ahead early, having to play in close game scenarios, and how to close it out in the end with clutch buckets.
So, Joaquin, after going over those last 2 games, you brought up a bunch of different situations that the Longhorns have faced and how that could potentially be beneficial come March. So let me ask you this. What % chance do you give the Longhorns to be dancing in the NCAA tournament?
Well, going off what we have now, we know that Texas is one of the last 4 teams in, which puts them right on the bubble, leaving not a lot of room for error. Texas has to look ahead at the rest of their competition. Texas has the 19th hardest schedule in the country for the remainder of their games, with notable games being against the reigning national champions, Florida, ranked Arkansas, and a Lone Star showdown against the Aggies. With 7 games left in the season, I give the Horns around a 45% chance. While the percent might be under 50, I don't think it's far-fetched to believe that Texas could make it. They need to pick up big wins like against Florida or A&M and avoid any losses that are not considered quality. They also need help from other teams in the SEC to potentially boost the final conference standings for the Longhorns. And to no surprise, they're going to need help from the committee. If the committee views the SEC in a kind light, then if Texas can finish in the middle to high end of the conference, there is certainly a chance for the Longhorns to go dancing.
Well, 45% is what we'll have to take for now. Great work, Joaquin. And now let's send it back to Nolan at the desk.
Solid work, Penelope and Joaquin. When College Press Box returns, we will take a look into what is coming up on the mound for our Texas teams. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Now for some more analysis on the fastly approaching baseball and softball seasons. Our very own Georgie Ruiz was at Texas softball's opening weekend at the UTSA Invitational on Sunday. Let's check out what she had to say.
Number 1, Texas softball wrapped up the UTSA Invitational in dominant fashion Sunday afternoon at the Roadrunner Field, sweeping a doubleheader against number 25 Washington and UTSA. The Longhorns opened the day with the 6th-inning, 5-0 shutout of the Huskies, a game that was cut short due to Washington's travel schedule. Texas stayed in control from start to finish, backing a strong pitching performance with timely offense to secure its third top 25 win of the young season.
They had offensive leaders like Katie Stewart, who had 1 home run and 2 RBIs, Viviana Martinez and Mattia Lawson, who had 1 RBI each, and pitcher Tegan Kavan, who had 6 strikeouts, compared to Washington's Amira Rodriguez, who only had 1. Now, Texas gets ready to go against UTSA in the sister matchup, and we'll give you the coverage right now.
Game 2 told an even louder story. Texas closed the weekend with a 5-inning, 10-0 run rule victory over UTSA, powered by a complete team effort on both sides of the ball. Senior Reese Atwood highlighted the afternoon, tying the program's all-time career home run record with her 58th long ball, her 3rd home run of the weekend. In the circle, freshman Hannah Wells earned her first career win, tossing a complete game shutout while allowing just 3 hits across 5 innings. The Longhorns pitching staff finished the day without allowing a single run over 11 total innings, and offensively, Texas piled up 17 hits of the day, including 4 home runs, while the defense stayed flawless with 0 errors. And with this sweep, Texas improves to 4-1 on the season and now turns its attention back home when the Longhorns return to McCombs Field to host the Bevo Classic beginning Thursday night. And for TSTV Sports, I'm Georgie Ruiz.
Work, Georgie. Now, let's send it to Nolan, who's with our next analyst to talk more.
Thanks, Dylan. I'm here with Kate Amon tonight to talk more about these two teams. Welcome to the show, Kate. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Nolan. Thrilled that softball and baseball season is starting and that these two teams are going to be fun to cover.
Absolutely. Yes, they are. But let's start with talking about this preseason number 1 ranked Texas softball team. This past weekend, they just played in the UTSA Invitation Tournament where this team went 4-1. Kate, how did the Longhorns play in this tournament performance-wise?
The Longhorns ended this tournament on a high note with winning against Nebraska on Friday, splitting the doubleheader Saturday with beating Washington and falling to Nebraska 5-8. On Sunday, this team picked up after the loss and beat Washington again and picked up the win against home UTSA Roadrunners in a run rule game 10-0. Highlights of this weekend include senior Reese Atwood tied the program's career run record with her 58th home run. Then during the second game against Washington, right-handed pitcher Tegan Kavan shut out the game in just 6 innings, only allowing 3 hits. Caden Cabtree hit her first collegiate hit that was a home run against the Roadrunners. Caden Henry matched her career high in doubles against the first Nebraska game. This weekend allowed the Longhorns to be 30-0 in all-time season openers.
Incredible record, wow. And even though this team lost in Nebraska, it still seems like they had a great opening weekend start. Now let's move on to baseball as they play their home opener this Friday against UC Davis at home. Kate, what are your predictions for this game? And who do you think are going to be the star players for this team this season?
This is going to be a great opening series for the Longhorns and even better opening day this Friday as the weather is set to have a high of 79 and a low of 60. Perfect baseball weather for me. Texas is ranked number 3 heading to the season, while UC Davis is coming into the season with a losing record last season. But they didn't lose many players to the transfer portal, such as senior standouts shortstop Joey Wright and outfielder Braden Wooldridge. Only 5 returning players, this Texas team is still stacked with freshman Anthony Pack Jr., then strong hitters at Ethan Mendoza, and of course this strong pitching team that played a vital role in the alumni game. Freshman right-handed pitcher Sam Cozart and Brett Crossland. Left-handed pitcher Dylan Bonteleas. This Texas team has a deep hitting squad and even deeper pitching squad. But my player to look out for this season is Notre Dame transfer catcher Carson Tinney, who is named preseason Golden Spikes Award watch list and having a slugging average of .753 and an on-base percentage of .98 and 52 runs all last season. This Texas team is going to be an elite team filled and excited to see where the season takes us.
Yes, Carson Tinney was a great person to enter the transfer portal and head to Texas. But we know this softball team is ranked number 1 and the baseball team is ranked number 3 as we head into the season. How much do you think the rankings will affect both of these teams' mentality?
When looking at the rankings, it's hard not to write off the entire season as good or bad. Looking at our football team being ranked number 1 and didn't even make it to the playoffs. This softball team is ranked number 1 because of their NCAA championship win last season, and not a lot of players went to the transfer portal and still have a lot of veterans who won this championship and looking for a repeat. On the baseball side, this team is ranked so highly because we have so many transfers who are number 1 at their school and are all now at Texas. Both are ranked so highly because of completely opposite reasons. I think softball will have an incredible season, not because they're ranked number 1, but because they kept all their returning core players who are now veterans and with young people who will make the season so very successful. I think baseball have a great season because we saw what their young pitching staff can do at the alumni game in a top-ranked recruiting class filled with young pitchers, but also the portal players who are now coming in to now be Longhorns. At the end of the day, I don't think their rankings affect both of these teams, but rather is a reflection of how maintaining and recruiting players plays a large part in the ranking process.
Absolutely, I agree with a lot of stuff you said right there. And speaking of the alumni game, I saw you were thugging it out there in the cold weather. So like you said earlier, the baseball weather is going to be a lot better now.
It will be.
So that will be good. And so thanks for coming on to the show, Kate. And back to you at the desk, Dylan.
Thank you, Nolan and Kate. When College Press Box returns, we'll discuss the Seahawks' dominant outing in Super Bowl 60 and how they were able to capture the Lombardi Trophy in such convincing fashion. Keep it here on College Press Box.
Welcome back to College Press Box. The big game didn't have quite as much action as many were hoping for, but as always, there's still a lot of storylines to talk about. Let's send it over to Dylan for more on this special achievement for the Seattle Seahawks.
Thanks again, Nolan. I'm here with Aidan Urbach to recap the Super Bowl. How's it going, Aidan?
Still feeling a little bit nice after my hips are still gyrating after that wonderful display of Bad Bunny in Sunday's Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, well, Bad Bunny might have been the real winner at the Super Bowl last night, but it was the Seahawks who took home that Lombardi. And right from the first series, it looked like a runaway performance from Seattle's offense as they seemed to command the game from start to finish, taking a 19-point lead at one point. However, you stated that the defense was going to be key in this matchup last week on this show. So taking me through your opinions on how crucial Seattle's defense was to taking home that win.
Yeah, well, Dylan, as that great analysis from last week pointed out, in my opinion, it was the defense as the deciding factor in Sunday's game. Even though Seattle's offense demonstrated some great possessions on several occasions, it really was that front seven mixed with that secondary for Seattle that propelled them to win their second Super Bowl in franchise history. Seattle continued to disrupt the Patriots' line of scrimmage, totaling 6 sacks and 8 tackles for losses, disrupting Drake May's ability to find rhythm in the passing game. And then let's move on to Seattle's secondary with their pass defense, as it was just outstanding. I mean, if you will, give credit to Devon Witherspoon and Julian Love for mirroring what they did all season long, which was lock down the passing attack and neutralize opponents' attack. In that total, the Patriots had 8. They punted 8 different times on 8 different occasions, the most they did all year, truly illustrating how well defensive coordinator Aidan Urbach did coaching this defense all year long.
Yeah, Drake May certainly looked uncomfortable in that pocket all day. But switching sides of the ball now, let's talk about that Seattle offense and the dominant running game they had, posting a staggering 141 yards on the ground, a complete contrast to what they did in the NFC Championship game against the Rams, where they only had 75 yards rushing. Aidan, was there a change in the system that offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak implemented? And if so, what was the underlying difference that made this team so effective at the point of attack last night?
Well, Dylan, Seattle's ability to run the ball for over 141 yards, which was nearly double what they did against the Los Angeles Rams 2 weeks ago. And that's just managed to produce the run game, which was simply a product of personnel, but of tactical balance and execution at the point of attack. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, who's going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders next season, mixed inside zones, left, right, and center with power right concepts more effectively, forcing defensive fronts to respect the multiple gaps instead of crowding one side. This adjustment led to cutback lanes that were not presented in the Rams game, where penetration consistently disrupted the backfield. Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker was central to that efficiency, averaging right over 5 yards per carry and consistently gaining positive yardage between tackles. His vision allowed him to identify and hit creases quickly, turning short gains into long instrumental runs, moving the chains left, right, and center. Walker also broke first contact at a high rate, which extended drives and wore off the defense. Combined with improved run blocking and better leverage from the offensive line, Seattle controlled the point of attack, dictated tempo in a way that we're unable to do against the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker, first running back to win Super Bowl MVP in 28 years. Incredible achievement.
Crazy stat line.
Truly, truly. But switching back over to the New England Patriots, this offense struggled not only in this game, but really all throughout the postseason while that defense was carrying that load and bringing that team to the Super Bowl. So moving forward with that offense and with Drake May, what does this team need to do to get their offense going heading into next season?
Well, first off, Dylan, that offensive line needs to cut down the negative plays and neutralize the edge, or else Drake May's brain is going to turn into a bean dip. I have to point out there. In 4 postseason games, the Patriots' offensive line gave up a whopping 21 sacks. And if you're Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, that just can't simply happen. We saw throughout this season that when Drake May has time to operate in the pocket, move around a little bit, the Patriots' offense just looks simply dynamic. So I'm looking for rookie left tackle Will Campbell, that's right, Will Campbell, to improve the edge, or he will be working at Amazon by the time he hits 25. Let's just put that out there. Other than that, this Patriots team had the 3rd highest rated offense of any team this season. So if they can just smooth out the line of scrimmage, that was just abysmal what we saw on Sunday, they should be a better Patriots team come next September.
Yeah, should be a brighter future with Drake May at the helm. Thank you, Aidan. Let's send it back to the desk with you, Nolan.
Thanks, Aidan and Dylan. When we return to College Press Box, we'll take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports and see what's ahead. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Let's take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports. Number 3 ranked Texas baseball's Carson Tinney and Dylan Volantis were both named to the preseason Golden Spikes Award watch list this past Friday. The Golden Spikes Award is presented annually to the best amateur baseball player in the entire nation. Volantis, a sophomore pitcher, finished as a semifinalist for the award last year while capturing National Freshman of the Year. Tinney, a junior transfer from Notre Dame, looks to take his game to another level with the Horns in 2026.
The number 4 Texas men's golf team broke 54-hole program records in total score and scored a par in last week's Amer Ari Invitational, and yet the Longhorns still finished runner-up. Texas was one up by Auburn, who shot a whopping 77 under par through 3 rounds compared to the Longhorns' 64 under par score. Despite the tough runner-up finish, Texas seems to be peaking at the right time. The team now has a few weeks off before traveling to Las Vegas to play in the Southern Highlands Collegiate in early March.
Number 4 ranked women's basketball guard Rory Harmon captured history on Thursday when she broke the all-time steal record for the team. Harmon swiped 6 steals in the Longhorns' statement victory over number 5 ranked LSU to break the record that was previously 45 years old. Harmon also became the 21st player in program history to reach 1,500 career points in that same game. Pretty solid night for Rory Harmon, to say the least.
Now let's take a look at this week in Longhorn sports. Alrighty, so we have softball on Thursday, starting their Bevo Classic journey. That's going to be from Thursday, February 12th through February 15th on SEC Network Plus. Then on Thursday, they have women's basketball at home against Vanderbilt at 6:30 p.m. That will also be on SEC Network Plus. On Friday, Texas baseball starts their first series, opening day against UC Davis on SEC Network Plus. That series will go from Friday to Sunday. And then on Saturday, men's basketball goes to Columbia, Missouri to play Missouri at 7:30 p.m. That will be on ESPN2. And on Sunday, women's basketball travels to Tennessee. That game will be at 2 p.m. and that will be on ABC.
And that will conclude this edition of College Press Box. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, please be sure to tune into our other shows this week, including College Crossfire, Wednesdays airing at 9 p.m., and the 1-0 Sports Show on Fridays at 11 a.m. Also, we invite you to follow our coverage on Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube at the handle TSTV Sports. Thank you to our analysts, everyone in Master Control, our executive producer Kendall Unger, and all of the reporters at TSTV Sports. I'm Dylan Becker, he's Nolan Clay. Thank you for watching and have a good night.